Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. When I was 17 years old, I caused a little bit of drama during the Thanksgiving holiday. And to understand what had happened that Thanksgiving, we actually have to go back a little bit in time. When I was 14 years old, 9/11 happened, and I developed a huge fear of flying. I swore to everybody around me that I was never going to fly again. My mom was kind of upset at that remark because she said that, you got three grandparents alive. You got to go visit them and maybe even go to their funerals one day. You got to at least go to their funerals, right? Got to fly 3 more times at least. And that really shook me up. And so I remember thinking that, I understand flying is not statistically dangerous, right? After all, in all those years, we had 4 planes that were involved in that incident, and even the other accidents are few and far between. I knew that. What I couldn't stomach was the idea of being trapped in a container like that for 15, 16 hours. And so I thought to myself, maybe one day flights will be faster. If we can get to Taiwan in 30 minutes, maybe I can put up with it, right? Because I knew the math. It was safe. What I didn't know was how to survive the psychological effects, right? Well, 2 years after that, after 9/11 and after I had wished for a faster flight to Taiwan, another flying machine capable of doing that also had its own disaster, right? Space Shuttle Columbia. And now I really didn't want to fly after that. Well, Thanksgiving, my parents and my younger brother, he was 4 years old at the time, took a trip to California to visit some family and to go to Disneyland. And I didn't join them that time. And I stayed home. There was another event that is crucial to understanding what happened at Thanksgiving. The fall semester of that year, I was going to college part-time. And my first day of class, there was a girl in the classroom that I liked. And I was overweight. I was a little shorter than I am today, and I weighed about 200 pounds. And I wanted to lose some weight and hopefully make a move on her before the end of the semester. The first thing I did when I got home that day was I stopped drinking soda. I never touched another soda. I didn't realize it at the time, but when I saw her in the classroom, that I was never going to drink another soda again. I didn't realize it at the moment I was looking at her. That's how funny it was. But Thanksgiving, my family goes away. I had the home to myself. One day, I thought I had eaten too much. And I was guilty about it. And I decided that, given that today is already shot, I might as well use it to eat everything that I've been depriving myself of for the last 3 months. Right? After all, I was 17 years old. I was depriving myself of a lot of stuff that I wanted. And so I went out to the grocery store and I bought a 10-pound bag of potatoes and some coconut oil, and I made my famous French fries, and I wolfed it all down. 10 pounds of potatoes. And now I was really regretting everything, so I went back out for more food, and I did this like 2 or 3 times. And because I didn't drive at the time, I was walking. There was only so much I could carry, and I blew through my life savings doing that. To understand how much in life savings I used to love to search rolls of coins. So whatever I would get in my allowance would go into my capital for getting coins at the bank to search through rolls of coins. I must have had $60, $70, $80 to do that with. But I blew it all on my Binge attack. On my way home from the grocery store, I sat down at a park bench because I was exhausted. My stomach was about to explode. Now, we live in a small town. Everybody knows everybody. One of the police officers wanted to make sure I was okay, asked me what I was up to, and I told him I had eaten too much. He thought I was using, and I was using the word eat as a euphemism for using something, and he asked me what drug did I eat. He said I could be honest. He just wants to get me medical help if I needed it. I told him, no, it really was food. He thought food was a code word for something that I was using. And he insisted that he wanted to call my parents to make sure I was okay. By this point, my parents had arrived at Pittsburgh International Airport, and my dad picked up the phone, and You got to understand, this is 2004. A lot of people hadn't heard about abstinence violation effects. They hadn't heard about, this was at the very beginning, at the dawn of the age of the internet. Not too many people had heard about trying these fad diets. And so even my dad had a hard time understanding the concept that I felt like I had already blown it. I decided to blow it more, right? And the police officers may have came into contact with it a few times, but it was not a daily occurrence like it might be today, right? And although the concept of fear of flying was fresh on everybody's mind, after all, 9/11 was only 3 years earlier. Columbia wasn't that big of a wave, but you know what? People understood what it was, right? Today it's more of a footnote, right? And so after my parents came home, my mom was so upset at me. I still remember the way she screamed at me and how I caused so much embarrassment for the family. Why can't I just eat normally? Why can't I drink soda and not, overdo it? Something to that effect. Anyway, so that it contributes to my disdain for Thanksgiving, the memory of that. Sometimes I even do my intermittent fasting over Thanksgiving to make up for that time where I ate probably 30, 40, 50,000 calories in one day, right? This is the Peter Dislike Show. Bum, 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 bum.